Jesus, the hope of the world. Among others, there are 5 world evils: liquor, race prejudice, economic greed, political corruption, and war, which hang at the body of our civilization as millstones to the neck of a drowning man in mid-sea. These evils have battered the world. Race prejudice, according to Ralph Sockman, is a blind vampire of the mind. Liquor has diseased millions of bodies, twisted as many minds, dampened and damned an even larger number of souls, wrecked homes, blinded babies shut up in their mother's womb. Economic injustice is the 3rd evil. Choose any philosophy of economy you want. There's something fundamentally wrong with a world where 53% of the people earn $4 a week. The decreasing few at the top get more and more, while an increasing mass at the bottom get less and less until there's poverty, destruction, disease, starvation. Something is fundamentally wrong. Waste begins where comfortable necessity ends. It is a sin for billions to pile high for the sake of the high pile in a world of starvation. A 4th evil, corruption. A 5th evil is war. We slaughtered 10 millions of our choice sons, chopped off the arms and legs of 20 millions more. We spent millions on top of millions fighting that war. In less than 25 years, we went back under the greatest warrior, Eisenhower, and we murdered 76 millions. We wounded many more. We spent far more fighting this war than we dug gold from the bosom of the earth since King Tut. What is the hope of the world? Some believe that communism is it. Within 30 years, communism had its increase from 180 to 800 million, with 500 million people starving in the world around. And because Russia has an immediate meat and bread program, communism is going to have to be watched. With many linguistic groups with different colors, Russia has emphasized to an advanced degree brotherhood. It is working to educate the masses. It is attempting from every man according to his ability to every man according to his need. Since greed often leads to war, some believe to apply from every man according to his ability and every man according to his need will give economic justice. On the negative side of the ledger, communism holds the stake to be supreme. Individual freedom is denied. As a censored press, the end justifies the means. It has no substitute for the profit motive. It shuts God out. I'm absolutely and completely convinced in my own heart and mind I'm absolutely and completely convinced in my own heart and mind that anything from the top of heaven to the bottom of hell that shuts God out has already failed in its embryonic stage. Some believe communism, others are sure that war is the way out. Some gains have come from some wars, such as freedom after the American Revolution, freeing of slaves after the Civil War in America. But for the most part, war is a confused mixture of all evils, solving no problems, wrecking and ruining. Peter, put up thy sword. Suppose we went to war with an enemy. Suppose we tied atomic destruction to military might and blasted Russia from the continents of Europe and Asia. What could we do with 200 million dead Russians? Are we buzzards? Could we pick the rotting flesh from their bones, stuffing it down our digestive tracts, only to return to cannibalism and savagery? What would we do with their wrecked cities? What would we do with their naked, starving children? What would they do to us? If we dropped atom bombs on their heads, we might as well get ready to catch some atom bombs in our arms. What will God be doing while we commit mass murder? As some believe communism is it, still others hold that scientific tactical intelligence is it. Such applied intelligence may produce more food, mastery of disease, rapid and safe transportation. In fact, many things, from a tooth to a plane, from a needle to an atom bomb. Some scientific technical intelligence has so much power to destroy, and it has just as much power to construct. Alas, here's an atom bomb too hot to hold and too hot to handle. If the hope of the world, help me, Holy Ghost, if the hope of the world is not communism, not war, or scientific technical intelligence, what is it? I am absolutely and completely convinced in my own heart and mind that the hope of the world, is Jesus, his faith, and his love. I am absolutely convinced, further, that every evil of our world can be cured by love. Consider the implementation of love in the area of war and race prejudice. I'm highly impressed by the program which has been described here today, which will touch your bodies at the point of scientific technical intelligence and do it for many. That's remarkable. Oh, it's so remarkable. It staggers the most exaggerated mind. But whatever you've got in this world that doesn't include enough God is going to the contrary include enough hell to burn it up. Believe me, I'm the voice of God. And if you do not believe me, you are obligated to the same extent to get something will do what I'm talking about, other than just run your mouth. God wants some dedicated, educated, high class. Shut up now. To, in love, lay yourself on the altar. And I mean it with all of my heart. And I challenge any man from the top of heaven to the bottom of hell, any place that he'd like to meet me, in the broad open daytime or at midnight, anywhere you say, I'll be there. Help me, Holy Ghost. I do not believe in my own mind and heart that there's anybody anywhere who can escape God at his highest and best. I am Lord God Almighty. Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hadst formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting, everlasting, thou art God. God is something. And if you want to be nothing, you buck him. Years ago, I told you about a little goat. And I loved him. But every time something come down the street, he'd get out there with his little self, rear up, and butt whatever it was. And he just kept going out there butting. And finally one named Zettler Clay had a big goat. And this big goat was coming along, tending to his business, pulling Zettler Clay's wagon. And my little goat ran out, reared up, and hit his horns against this goat. This big goat hadn't done a thing to him. Haven't you ever seen people like that? If there ain't no mess, they get up one. And before they get through it, they done messed up. But he hit it. Papa said, God says, you got to sell this goat, Holmes. You got to sell him. And so I followed my father, and we sold the goat for $1.50. And the last that I heard of my little goat, with half of his head knocked off. Help me, Holy Ghost. Do you know one thing? It takes most sense to love and just a little bit of hate to get your horns knocked off. Help me, Holy Ghost. Let's go on. Let's dig a little deeper. Let's go. Thank God for Gandhi, who proved a workable realism of love beyond any person who ever lived in this century. And when you take in preceding centuries, you will discover that only Jesus superseded. Golly was something. And he didn't tear up so much, but he raised so much goodness and so much love. He had what he called ashram. And he would pray at certain times. And as many as 30 people, 30,000 people attended his prayer services. Do you know that the hardest thing to get us to right now is prayer service? Deacons included. John Robinson wants a prayer meeting. The way to get the deacons to come is to tell them to come. And there won't be many of them here. I know your deacons don't like that so much. It's hard for you to love the stark naked truth that bip bops you all around your head and tells you what you ought to know. I have decided in my own heart and mind that if you go to hell, it's not going to be my fault. Because I'm going to tell you and tell you good, and I'm not going to run either. They that are kept by God are well kept. And you don't need to make no apology for God. He can take care of himself. Sometimes it takes him a month, sometimes it takes him a year, sometimes it takes God 100 years. Sometimes it takes 500 years, sometimes it takes 1,000. Sometimes it takes 1,000,000. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever you sow, that you're going to reap. Arms are too short to box with God. Don't get bigoted about it either. Can't even define him and trying to buck him. Help me, Holy Ghost. Let's dig in a little deeper. When Jesus questioned God, Isaiah's body turned over in his grave. His spirit marched up to the throne, and he turned it and said, God, you remember you sent me prophesying 800 years ago. I told Israel that there would be a Prince of Peace, a wonderful counselor, a mighty God, and an everlasting Father. We got word in Holy Ghost corner that he's dying on a cross. He's on the verge of doubting. Remember, God, I put out your word just as you told me. My word shall not return unto me void. It shall accomplish that which I please. The grass withereth, and the flower fadeth. But the word of our God shall abide forever. Jesus climaxed the prophecy in Israel and preached for God. For one jot or tittle of my word shall fail, heaven and earth shall pass away. Heaven, the earth will cave in. Heaven's pillars of truth will crumble. The stars will drop from their sockets. Jesus, your son, is out there dying on Calvary depending on you, God. Can you turn your back on him and still be God? God stepped off his throne and moved in eternity. The earth had a cosmic fit. Thunder muttered, lightning played a nibble game against the bosom of the sky. An angel veiled the sun, and the curtains in the temple were rent in twain from top to bottom. Spirits of saints left the cemetery and tipped lightly around Calvary. Help me, Holy Ghost. Help me, Holy Ghost. Jesus took hold of a thief and flung him across the river of time into eternity. You talk about these batteries in baseball. You talk about the battery of Roy Campanelli and Johnny Patris. You talk about Walter Johnson and Muddy Rule. But I know a battery. Yes, I do. With Jesus as the pitcher and God as the catcher. Help me, Holy Ghost. I know a battery. Yes, I do. That has never failed. I know a battery, and I know a God who's able. I know a God who has all power in his hands. I know God. Some people call him by another name. But I know the name that my country preaching father gave out at Swift Creek, 6 miles from town. He called him God, and I call him God too. And you don't have to get a letter, a recommendation from anybody in this world. He's glad to see you on your turn. I am Lord God Almighty. My son is going to be on the door. And if you got the blood-stained banner, you'll come in. Bless my soul. I heard years ago, and he was 90 years old at that time, which means that he was a slavery-time preacher. He called himself Little William. There was a Little Williams, a Big Williams, and then there was a Robert Williams. But the Little Williams, gray hair. And he said, Lord, I need you. And I want you to come right now. And don't send Martha. Don't send Mary. I want you to come yourself. I got a job that I want you to do, Lord. This Little William, and I want to tell you where I is. I live on Ross Street in Macon, Georgia. And I need you, God, you come yourself. Don't send nobody in your place. I believe from that day to this that God, that the eternal God, that the Father, Lord God Almighty, help me, Holy Ghost, has got time to take up time with anybody that's got time to take up time with him. And when he comes, I'm like somebody up there in that choir that's saying, when he gets in my feet, I feel like running. Gets in my hands, I feel like waving. He gets all over me. Help me, Holy Ghost. Gets all over me and gets all in me. Don't come telling me about he said, they said, somebody else said around the corner said. I don't want that. I want to know what you said. God bless all of this technical scholarship, and I love you with all of my heart. Got some of it myself. I got just enough of it to make me know who God is. And either you straighten up and fly right, or the buzzard's going to get you. If I had my way now, everybody in this church who's outside would join. God is able to take care of you too. If I knew your name, if I knew your pew, I'd come get you. I want you to come yourself. Come on and join God's church. This is some invitation that God has trusted me to extend to you. Get up! Get up!